What's going on, YouTube? Bear here. This is Bear's Mix. Welcome to my channel. This morning I'm coming to you from Rimrock, Arizona, making my way out to Louisville, Kentucky with a load of furniture. And I need to get another video out for you guys. I noticed earlier that it has been 6 months since I released a video for you guys. Wow, I did not realize it's been that long. I know I had 2 other videos that were scheduled to, they were already uploaded, scheduled to release, and apparently they corrupted on me, so they never went live. So here we are. As you can see, yes, I am still driving for Western Flyer Express, although I don't know I'm going to be here much longer. In fact, I don't know that the company is going to be here much longer. I've tried to keep everything on the up and up with you guys, give you guys all the best up-to-date information I can. While driving here, I've had nothing negative to say about the company until now. I don't want to hide anything from you guys. If you're coming in, I want you coming into the company with your eyes wide open. Now, there's a few things going on with the company that lead me to believe that it may not be around much longer, as well as a major lawsuit filed in federal district court regarding the lease purchase program here. I'm going to get into all that and more right after this brief introduction. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I got 2 quick announcements I want to make. First off, I got notified earlier today. I got an email before I came in sometime last night while I was sleeping. Seen it this morning before I rolled out. This channel is now eligible for monetization, which, wow. I've gotten the remaining 1,300 hours that I needed to monetize in the last couple of weeks. Somebody replied to one of my videos. I responded to them, and somehow that ended up triggering the YouTube algorithm and got a bunch of my videos recommended and put out there. And wow, I've got over 4,000 watch hours now. I've got over 1,170 subscribers. My subscribership has dropped over 1,000, partly because, well, I haven't been able to get videos out to you guys because I'm always on the road. So thank you so much for everybody that's watched these videos. And I know from looking at the stats, most of you that are watching these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you know when I upload new videos. It truly does help. And don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. That's what the YouTube algorithm really likes to see, is thumbs ups. And post to the channel. Post your questions, your thoughts, your comments. Let me know what's going on out there, guys. Second announcement I want to make, and first off, I gotta say thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody that stuck with me through this and has been coming back to watch my videos, especially the guys that have been here recently, but more importantly, the guys that have been with me since the beginning, my original subscribers. I love you all 100%. Thank you so much for all your support. Any money that I make from this channel or from the affiliate program I'm about to talk about will go back into equipment for studio equipment and to better this channel, to get you guys better content, as well as going to go into my homestead that I'm getting ready to set up, which of course will also generate new content for you guys. Also going to be doing new content on freight brokering and transportation on another channel other than this one, the Logistical Bear Speaks. You can find links to that and these affiliate programs I'm going to get into on my new website, which brings me to announcement number 2. I just launched a new website, beardednation.us. beardednation.us. Get over there, check it out. You're going to find links to construction zone, freaking narrow lanes. That's what that noise that you're hearing is. I'm brushing up against the rumble strips so I don't hit the barrels that are along the side of the road here. You're going to find links there to my other YouTube channels, as well as the affiliate program that I'm going to talk about. A lot of it has to do with personal credit, rebuilding personal credit, setting up, building, and establishing business credit. As you guys know from previous videos, I myself was a victim of ID theft several years ago. My credit score, a little over a year ago, was around 450. Just got it up to 691 using these programs. I've gotten approved for some rather large credit limit cards. And then I wound up having some breakdown issues, which I'm going to get into in this video, as part of the problems I see going on currently with Western Flyer Express. Some of the things I see that leads me to believe that they are getting ready to close. It's going to be covered in that. I'm going to go briefly over the money they owe me. Over $10,000 at this point. But anyways, on that channel, you're going to find stuff on there for credit repair programs and different products I think you guys might be interested in. Right now, the main thing up there is components through Amazon links for setting up lighting and watering automation for home gardens or growing microgreens, which is something I'm getting into now, is doing microgreens. So there's a bunch of equipment on there you can buy to set up and build your own automated watering and lighting system, which I'm going to do a video on those builds a little later on. You'll find that over on my other channel, NV2AK. You can find a link to that in the on my new channel, or my new website there, beardednation.us. So my score, I got my score up to 691. I figured by, today is August 30th, I figured by middle of September, I would break 720, 725. Then I had a few things go wrong. I had some breakdowns that had my truck down for 3 weeks plus. Plus I had my vacation. During that, most of that 3 weeks I spent at a hotel out of my pocket, which ate into my vacation funds, because I was going on vacation for 2 weeks at the end of July 14th to the 28th. My truck was broke down for 2 weeks before that, and then another week after that I ended up breaking down again. It got towed, and I was down for another almost solid week. Well, because of this, eating into my reserves, into my funds, I was relying heavily on my credit cards for a little while, and pretty much maxed them out again. Dropped my score down about 60 points. Started to rebound and climbing back up a little bit, because I was able, finally after 7 weeks, I started getting paychecks, so I was able to start paying my cards down just a little bit. Basically just the minimum payments I could make on it, because that's all I got on my last couple paychecks. Today's paycheck's $1,100. Last week's paycheck was $1,400. The week before that was $1,100. So my pay right now is absolutely terrible. Although this week coming up, I'm expecting about a $2,300 paycheck. We shall see. After I get this load delivered out there in Louisville, I'm looking at about a $2,300 paycheck next week. But we'll see how that goes. But high utilization and lowering your credit score is very easy to reverse and recover from. You just got to pay down your cards as quickly as you can. The more you pay on them, the less utilization you're using, and the higher your score will start to climb back up almost instantly. Get your score below 30% utilization. That's what the credit monitoring agencies like to see. Your score will rebound rather quickly at that point. It might not get back up to exactly where it was before the overutilization, but it will climb dramatically. But the other problem that I have right now is those guys that I talked about before out in Excelsior, Minnesota, they're at it again. Just in the middle of last week, I got a alert that somebody tried to take out a car loan in my name at a buy here, pay here dealership out in Excelsior, Minnesota. The location where they had utilities turned on in my name in an apartment. They tried to take out a $50,000 cash advance at a payday loan place, and they tried to buy firearms. They applied for a credit card at Cabela's to try and purchase some firearms. Thank God that didn't go through. I do not want my name and my information on a Form 4473 for a firearm that I don't own, possess, and control. I don't know what somebody's going to do with it. I have no clue what their intentions were. If they go out and commit some crime and leave the weapon behind, they research the ownership, and it's going to show that I own the firearm. Yeah, no, I don't want no firearms with bodies on it. Well, any more firearms with bodies on them, I should say. So that was kind of a little scary thing right there. But now they tried to take out a car loan in my name at a buy here, pay here dealership. Now that dealership ran my credit for their internal in-house financing, seen the extended fraud alert on my credit report, failed to call my number to verify that it was me and verify the information as they're required to by law. Instead, 2 days later, they sent the credit applications out to about a dozen different lenders that deal in high-risk loans. One of them was Santander. When I owned a repo company, I did a bunch of repos for them. When I managed a company out in Arizona, I did a bunch of repos for them. Same thing when I worked for a company up in Detroit and another company out in Las Vegas. They were one of our main clients. They were one of the biggest clients out there, one of the biggest lenders out there for people with poor or low credit. That's neither here nor there. So because of this guy running my credit through all these different banks trying to get these loans, luckily none of them went through as far as I can tell. But the damage is done. It's drugged my credit score all the way back down to 578. My credit score has now dropped over 100 points in the last 10 days. It's going to take me forever to recover from that. I've already sent off the dispute letters to the credit bureaus. Even if they do delete all of these unauthorized inquiries, which they're supposed to, I'm not going to get back the points I lost on my credit score. Those points are gone. I might get back a third of them. So I got to work harder to build everything back up. Now, I was hoping by the middle of September to be up around 720, 725 because I want to go buy a pickup truck. A decent pickup truck, probably an F-350 Stupid Duty, or a Dodge Ram Mega Cab 3500, quad cab, dual rear wheels, something I can throw a gooseneck or a fifth wheel hitch on and start pulling a hotshot trailer behind me. And because I want to go get my own authority, reactivate my old authority as far as carriers, motor carriers go. Hire somebody and stick them in that truck and make some money off of them. Until I make the move. At which point I'm going to buy, I was thinking about buying a 20-foot Connex, loading all my property in it, and just driving it all the way up to Alaska. But we'll see what happens there. I mean, I might just end up buying a 16-foot tag-along toy hauler, bumper mount toy hauler, and throw all my stuff in that and drive it up. Well, we'll see how that goes. But right now, I can't do that because my credit score has been pulled down so far. I've had so many inquiries on there right now, at least a dozen in the last few days, because of this crooked auto dealership. And I've already been in touch with the Attorney General's office out there. They're opening up a criminal probe into this company. I've also been in touch with the Dealers Commission. They're opening up a probe into this company. They're going to try, they said they're probably going to lose their dealership's license over this. And I've instructed my attorneys to go after them for everything they own. I want every vehicle on that dealership parking lot. I'm tired of the games. I'm tired of people ripping me off and harming my good name and trying to steal money from me. This has been going on 20 freaking years, y'all, and I'm still having problems with it today. But you know what? That's not what we're here to talk about. But yeah, head on over to my channel there, my new channel, beardednation.us, to check out links to my other YouTube channels as well. I'm going to put some information up there, or some affiliate links up there to different affiliate programs that I'm involved in, primarily on Amazon. Some of them are going to be affiliate links for the credit repair programs that I use to build my credit score up. Almost 250 points in a year's time. So yeah, with these people coming after my credit, they keep knocking it down, and I keep fighting to build it back up. I mean, you cannot be complacent. You need to keep an eye on your credit, especially now. ID theft and stuff like that is on the rise because of COVID, they say. It's like that guy that got shot to death the other day, but he died of COVID. There's going to be links on there to some of the cooking products I use on the truck, and a few other things. There's going to be some survival gear up there, some seed bank information, so you can start stockpiling food for yourself and your family and get seeds ready. So if things do go sideways, I'm not saying they will, I'm not hoping they will, but I want to be prepared. I want to be able to be self-sustaining for as long as possible in the event that things go sideways. And the way things are going right now with that clown up there in the office and the damage he's done to the, you cannot screw a country up this bad in 8 months unless it's on purpose. I'm sorry. I mean, just look at Afghanistan, just lost the country. Taliban said you have a certain date to get out of there, and the U.S. said, okay, yes sir, we're leaving right now, we're packing our bags, we're leaving right now, leaving millions, or rather billions of dollars worth of equipment, top secret software, communications, encryption, decryption equipment, weapons, munitions, vehicles. They've got thousands of MRAPs now. They got thousands of other armored vehicles, tanks, Bradleys, aircraft, drones, rockets, field artillery equipment. I mean, we just turned the Taliban into a force to be reckoned with, and all the people we've lost since then. I mean, crap like this makes me sorry I ever served this country. But I would do it again. And the way things are going, I'm going to have to. But let's get off that. I'm trying to keep politics off my channels, and every now and then it's got to come on. I'm sorry, guys. I hope I don't mean to offend anybody by it. It's just the way I feel. Now, let's get to what you guys came here for. You want to learn about what's going on here at Western Flyer Express. You want to find out about the lawsuit. You want to find out what I see about why I think this company's getting ready to fold yet again. That's right, I said yet again. I'm trying to get my truck payments reported on my Dun & Bradstreet credit profile to help build up my Dun & Bradstreet credit rating. I need to get my viability score from where it's at now at a 6 down to at least a 3. For those of you who don't know, Dun & Bradstreet is the oldest and most common business credit system out there. They predate the Civil War. They go all the way back to the founding of the country. Lincoln, Jefferson, Thomas, Franklin, they were all had stuff through there. And I believe Jackson was the first one to have a credit score for his business on Dun & Bradstreet. I think it was Jackson. Might have been Franklin, I forget. It was one of them. But anyways, they go back that far in our country's history. They have such extensive knowledge and models built, they can predict with fairly good accuracy what the odds of a company going out of business or filing bankruptcy or not paying their bills over the next 12 months. And they even give suggestions into how much lenders should lend or how much credit they should extend to a new business, or any business for that matter. Right now, they say I'm eligible. They can be extended up to $450,000 in business credit. Of course, that don't mean I'm going to get $450,000 in business credit. They're saying I shouldn't be given any more than that for now, but that number keeps going up and up and up over time. Now, for my freight brokerage, I have 3 contracts I'm working on right now. They're just waiting to be inked. They're all set, filled out, ready to go. I just got to sign them. The military's got to sign them. The government's got to sign them. There are 3 government and military contracts, which I will do quite handsomely on. Each one of them is promising a minimum of 10 loads, Monday through Saturday, assigning me 10 loads to get booked out. If I can get all 10 of those loads booked every single day for all 3 agencies, that's 30 loads a day, averaging $1,000 a day in my pocket after paying the drivers. That's $1,000 per load, I'm sorry. If I'm booking 30 loads a day, I'm making $30,000 a day. I think it comes out $30,000 a day. I forget what it came to, but it was like $9 or $10 million the first year off of these 3 contracts that I will make personally. That's retirement money, y'all. I can work for a year and then retire. Not that I plan to. But yeah, so I gotta get my viability rating score to a 3 so I can get that done. I've got 2 vendors that right now are reporting to Dun & Bradstreet, which is helping me out quite a bit. They've been reporting for several months now. There should be a total of 7, but come find out the 5 of them no longer report to Dun & Bradstreet. They only report to Credit Safe, and I don't know what they're doing reporting to Credit Safe. Credit Safe is a UK-based credit monitoring and reporting agency, but apparently they're breaking into the US market somehow. Don't know how, but they are. Ah, man. Just realized I never started my dash cam. Anyways, when I was trying to add my truck payments, you go into the credit report monitoring and credit reporting, you manually add some of your vendors. And then Dun & Bradstreet, they do their due diligence, they verify the information, and if it meets the model and the requirements and the criteria, they add those payments to your credit report, which drastically increases your business credit. Well, in doing so, I accidentally found out some information about Western Flyer Express that I was not aware of. About a half dozen times, Western Flyer Express has gone out of business since they originally started in '96. They've reorganized and reopened under a similar or a different name. That's what I see getting ready to happen right now. Either that or they're getting ready to sell out. There's been a lot of changes going on lately. They've replaced a lot of the executives with executives from Warner Express. One of the drivers that I've talked to regularly, his wife works at Warner Express. And according to him, take this as hearsay. This is just what he's telling me. I haven't been able to vet this information. I don't know how accurate it is, but I want to put it out there because it is important, I feel, especially if this turns out to be accurate information. Those executives that they brought in from Warner Express are actually Warner's transition team. They send them out to a company 12 to 18 months in advance before they take full stock or full ownership of the business or become heavily vested in the business to see how it runs, how it operates, and convert the business program and the way the business model is set up over to their business model to make the transition easier when they fully take over. That's very possible. Some of the other things I see going on, well, it's getting harder and harder to get paid the money you owe. I'm owed over $10,000 right now, people. I was underpaid over $7,000 last year on my salary. I found out recently. I'm fighting with them on that right now. Now they're trying to backpedal and get out of paying it. Out of 12 loads that I've had detention on this year, so far, I've only gotten detention on one of them. Still fighting with them on that, trying to get that detention pay. They owe me for breakdown pays. They owe me 21 days of breakdown pay. I mean, that right there, they owe me, I think it was almost $2,000 in breakdown pay they owe me. Now, back in May of this year, when I had my truck in, hold on. When I had my truck in for the DOT inspection and my, it was my A service was due about the same time. Had them doing both. I told them, look, I got a exhaust leak up here behind the turbo and the bellows pipe. Engine's getting progressively louder. There's a lot of sooting going on around it. I need to have that pipe either replaced or at least have the seal replaced in it, if it's just a bad seal's going. Their response, they looked at it, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it, that's normal, you'll be okay, we're not doing the work, it doesn't need to be fixed. Okay. June, end of June, I'm coming down the grapevine, that pipe finally breaks clean free. The engine got really loud, a lot of exhaust pouring off of it. I had exhaust filling the cab of my truck. It was bad, y'all. So I got down to LA to make my delivery. I'm sitting at a red light down there. I had somebody pull up next to me yelling at me, and my truck was on fire. I was smoking that bad. When it started smoking like that, I pulled over the first safe place I could. I thought at first, did I just blow an injector because of the amount of smoke I was getting? I opened up the hood and it was all coming right out of the back side of the turbo. So all my exhaust, instead of going through the one box in the APT, was going out into the atmosphere, which in California, if I got pulled into an inspection, thank God the scale house, I didn't pass any scale houses at that point. I was coming down the grapevine, so I already got through that scale house right before the pipe broke. It broke when I was coming down the vine. If anybody's driven down the grapevine, you know that's a long, steep, it's a 40-some mile, 5 to 7% grade. Maximum speed limit for the truck is 40 miles an hour. So, of course, I got my engine brake on, I got my cruise control set at 35, I got my engine brake on the second click, I'm locked in 8th gear, just cruising along, keeping legal speeds, not having to ride my brakes or anything. That's when the pipe let go because the extra pressure of the engine brake running, I guess. Well, they first are like, oh, just take it over to the TA or the petrol there in Tulsa, in Ontario, California. Yeah, no. I would have been there waiting a week just to get the truck in and get them to look at it. I said, look, my pre-plan has got me going into Arizona, going back down towards Phoenix. I'll just take it, make my delivery, I'll go into the Tulsa, Arizona Loves, or into the Freightliner there, or wherever you want me to take it. I said, take it to the Loves. So I get down there, choking on exhaust the whole way with the windows down. I'm glad it didn't rain. Get it into Tulsa. They look at it. I got in there on the 30th. June 30th, I got it in there. June 1st, they looked at it and said, yeah, you need a new flex pipe. We're ordering the parts, but being a 3-day weekend with 4th of July right around the corner, it'll be 7 days or more before we get the parts. So I called back up to our shop and say, do you want me to take it over here to the Freightliner and see if they can get the parts any quicker or if they have the parts? Oh, well, hold on, we'll get back to you. A little while later, I hear back from them. Look, we got a driver going down there to pick up a truck that was abandoned at the dealership. We're renting a car for him to come down. He's leaving in a little while. He's bringing the parts with him. You'll have the parts tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, the 1st. Or, I'm sorry, Friday morning, the 1st. They said Saturday the 2nd by the latest. I did not get the parts until Monday, July 4th, 5:30 in the evening. He finally shows up with the parts. Now, I tried getting a hold of him several times to find out what was going on. The shop couldn't get a hold of him to find out what was taking so long. Well, he decided to stop off in Texas for a few days, visit his friends and family. and take a little home time rather than going to do the truck he was supposed to pick up or to bring me the parts he knew I was waiting for. Oh, I was so pissed. Well, because it's a holiday now, I can't get the parts into Love's, can't get the truck back into Love's until the 5th. Get it checked in on the 5th. They finally look at it on the 6th. They install the parts. By the time I get the truck back, the planners are already gone for the day, so I can't get reloaded now until July 7th. I get reloaded July 7th. I run a load out from Amazon in Phoenix to the Ontario UPS. Then I shoot over to Redlands to grab a load of furniture, which I got right now. Same location I picked up at. Going to Wichita, Kansas. Well, while I'm up there, my truck starts throwing codes all of a sudden for a NOx sensor and the dock inlet temperature sensor. So we're like, well, they probably knocked something loose when they were replacing the pipes. I'm going to be going through, running down I-10 anyways, up to the 17 and over. I may as well stop back at the Love's since they did the original work and have them fix it, because most likely they just knocked something loose. Get there, they look at it, no, nothing's loose. You got a software issue and your NOx sensor needs to be replaced. We don't do NOx sensors. We didn't even bother with the other one since we're not doing NOx. It's got to go to the dealership. So I call the shop. Okay, take it to the dealership. So I take it over to the dealership the same day. This is on the, I get it in there on the 8th. I got my truck back on the 7th, made the round trip, got it back in on the 8th. Or I got my truck rather back on the 6th, got loaded on the 7th, was back in the shop on the 8th. I just made a quick round trip from, like I said, Phoenix to Ontario, then over to Redlands and back across. So I take it over to the dealership, drop my loaded trailer off in the back in the dealership where I'm supposed to drop them off at. Got in there early in the morning. I got there about 10:30 in the morning. I should say early, it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. 11:30 at night, just before they were closing down for the day, even though I kept checking with them throughout the day for updates, sitting there the whole time. Now keep in mind, I just spent a whole week in a hotel paying out of pocket before this, for the first breakdown. Sit there all this time, the whole day. They finally tell me, okay, well, the bunghole for the NOx sensor, the little hole where it screws into, overheated from the exhaust leaks. It got really hot under there and it deformed the bunghole, so we had to order a new bunghole. It's going to take a couple days to get here. So I call back over to the shop. Don't worry about it, just hang tight. Wait for the part to come in and wait for the truck. There's no loaners, no recoveries or anything you can do. You'll be compensated for your time. Pretty much, they told me I'd be compensated for my time. The first breakdown, so I was there for another whole week. On the evening of the 13th, I get called, hey, your truck's ready, come get it. I'm like, great. I leave on for my vacation tomorrow. Shoot over, pick up the truck that night, get it delivered to, and just for the hell of it, I decided to check the yard to see if they left a empty for me. My load was still sitting on the yard for a solid week. They were supposed to have somebody pick it up. They told me they had it dispatched on another truck. They were taking it off me, that somebody was picking it up. Never happened. Somebody dropped the ball, and I made multiple calls and multiple attempts to make sure that load got repowered, because there's no way I was going to make the delivery. I was supposed to take that load up, deliver it in Wichita, Kansas rather. Then I was going to go down, drop my truck off at our yard in Oklahoma City for the 2 weeks I was going on vacation, and let them go through it and fix everything that needed to be fixed. You know, just give it a good servicing, a good once over. There are a few things it needed, minor things, but they won't do minor issues. They'll wait until the minor issue becomes a major issue. These are the types of things you see happen in companies that are having financial problems. Rather than fixing something when it's a $350 repair, they'll put it off as long as they can, fingers crossed that it doesn't get worse. And now it's a $3,500 repair and a driver's down paying for a hotel out of his pocket for a week, promised breakdown pay, which he never gets. those are signs that the company's financially in trouble. That's signs of financial stress right there. So I get the truck delivered I drop my truck off in our yard in Phoenix, Arizona. Now I have to catch a flight from Phoenix, Arizona to Las Vegas so I can run home and get everything. Originally, I already had a flight round trip paid for, $1,800 from Oklahoma City to Las Vegas so I can get everything together and catch my flight from Las Vegas up to Anchorage, Alaska for my vacation. And then when I come back 2 weeks later, I had a return flight booked. Well, I had to cancel those flights, but no refund on that. My vacation that I already had planned going up to Alaska, I already had $35 tied up in that trip with no refunds. Part of what I was going up there for a few years ago, I won a gold excursion for 10 days up at one of the gold claims there in Alaska. And I was running out of time. I had 5 years to redeem it. This was the 5th year. Got up there, my flight got in late, so I couldn't get the rental car I had reserved. I had reserved a mid-size SUV so I could make it out. I had the ground clearance to make it out to the claim. They took away my reservation. They lost my reservation because my flight was late. But also, no, we can't find it anywhere. You never had a car reserved. But this is what we have available. $383 a day for 10 days. No, for that money, I'm going to go buy a car up there. So I called over to Enterprise, let them know what's going on in the main number. They get on with one of their customer service rep managers. They had no problem finding my reservation in the system. And they're like, wow, that's a good rate. I said, yeah, well, I booked this car last year. It was going to cost me $555 and change to rent that midsize SUV for the week. Well, now because of COVID, there's a so-called car rental shortage. The only reason there's a shortage is to save them money. All these rental companies canceled their new car orders, and they sold off some of the cars that they had in stock to try and reduce their expenses, which I can't say that I blame them. But that resulted in a big supply and demand issue, where now they're charging $300 and change a day for a subcompact Chevy Spark. The car that the midsize SUV that I had reserved originally was now $758 a day, as opposed to the $55 a day I had originally. Over 10 days, yeah, no, and they didn't have any available, so they ended up sticking me in that Chevy Spark for $500. They knocked $55 off of my rental fee for the inconvenience. But they gave it to me at close to the rate that was in effect at the time I made the reservation back in November of last year. So there's a few other things. It rained every day. The road was washed out. I couldn't get the claim. There was a few other things that totally ruined my trip, and I didn't get to do most of what I was supposed to do. At least the mining company, they were gracious enough to extend my time to take the trip another year, so I got into next year to go out there and get out to the gold claim. Because they understood it wasn't my fault. There was some issues going on there. So that was nice of them. Hello, Flagstaff. So then I had to fly back to Vegas. Took my sidearm home and all my other stuff home, dropped it off. And then I had to catch a flight from Vegas back to Phoenix to get my truck. Now my truck was already repaired. I picked it up, got it dropped off in our yard on the 14th. It was good to go, supposedly. I do the same run again. Take a Amazon load out to Ontario, which is common when I leave out of Arizona, out of the Phoenix area. I usually end up going either to the border or to UPS in Ontario, and then reload a decent load out of there. A lot of times I get to reload out of there going to New Jersey. I just reloaded out of Redlands going to Louisville, Kentucky, which is what I'm on right now.
In 1.5 miles, keep to the right on I-40 East.
Hold on, guys. I got an accident up here ahead of me. I'm trying to get around. So the money that I had reserved on my flight from, or the money that I already spent on the flight from Oklahoma City to Vegas and back at the end of my vacation, I lost that money. I lost all my money being tied up at the hotel for 2 weeks. Finally get my truck, get reloaded. I run the load out there, get the furniture load going to Wichita. Get that dropped off in Wichita. I drop over to Park City, Kansas to pick up a load going out to New Hampshire. Londonderry, New Hampshire, an HVAC load. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Going to an AC installer and repair company out there in New Hampshire. In fact, they had 3 truckloads going to the same location. I leave out of there, my truck starts throwing codes again, exhaust system related codes, error codes. This time it is for the DPF sensor and the SPF sensor. And instantly my truck was derated to 55 miles an hour just before I got to where I was going to shut down and take my 10-hour break for the night. So I get there Saturday night, get parked, I'm derated to 55, I call over to road service, let them know what's going on. Hey, I'm shutting down for my 10-hour, but just give you guys a heads up, I'm derated to 55, my truck's throwing some codes here, still have to do with the exhaust and the after treatment program. Now keep in mind, they just had to drop the one box in the APT to replace the bunghole, which is one of the reasons the truck was down for so long. So I figured, okay, it's related to that. Nope, my DPF pump went out again. Second time this year that pump's been replaced. Or my DEF, my DEF pump rather. I tried to do a part regen. Wasn't aware that the problem was with the pump at this point. I figured, okay, maybe if I can just do a forced part regen, we can clear this out and we'll be good to go. Because sometimes that's all it needs is just a good part regen to clear out these codes. Did my part regen, went to sleep, got up the next morning, Sunday morning now, getting ready to roll out and head on my way down the road. I'm 95 miles away from the yard. I was going to swing through our yard in Oklahoma City to get the system checked out real quick. Go to pull out of the parking lot. I end up in full D rate down to 5 miles an hour, so maximum speed the truck would go. Back into the parking spot. Call over to breakdown. Okay, well, we're gonna, since you're so close, we're gonna send the local tow company that we prefer to use. But because it's the weekend, we're not paying after hours or weekend rates for the tow truck, which I can understand. Another sign that the company's in financial distress. We'll get him out there Monday. So I sat there for the entire Sunday. Monday, tow finally shows up around 11 o'clock in the morning. Get back to the yard about 2:30, get my load dropped, get the truck checked in. I go over to talk to James Bennett, the head guy for the shop and the truck repairs and all that. See if there's any loaners available so I can keep rolling. I need to make money. I've been down for 2 weeks for the breakdown. I was down 2 weeks from vacation. I'm not getting any paychecks right now. No loaners available, and there are, we might have a recovery tomorrow. I'll let you know, but you'll get taken care of for your downtime. In other words, breakdown pay. Woo! Next day rolls around, nope, nothing. Still no loaners. Just hang tight. You'll be compensated. All right. The recovery, I guess they ended up giving it to somebody else. I don't know exactly what happened there, but it wasn't available to me all of a sudden. So I sat around there for another 5 days. They finally worked it out and figured out that, yeah, the DEF pump went again. Now, a few weeks earlier, the DEF system overpressurized and it blew out the drain plug on the filter housing for the DEF, which is just a plastic housing. I was down for 2 days over that. No big deal there. Took my 34 under it, so I was happy. It was right about the time I needed to stop and take my 34 anyways. So it wasn't that bad of a deal. Now here it is. It's been 2 weeks. Still haven't got a single penny of the breakdown pay I've been promised. And this time by the manager, the big boss there over the shop, the one that's got to approve it. The other guy, Greg Mummy, that's supposed to be approving this stuff. Whenever I ask him about it, first words out of his mouth, well, did you ask for a loaner or recovery? It's up to you to ask for that. We don't have to give you breakdown pay. That's just something we do out of the kindness of our hearts, sometimes to help you guys out when you're in a bind. Hello? I asked for these. I was told to sit tight and wait that I would be taken care of. Take care of me, pay me. So it's like $1,575 is what I think they owe me right now on breakdown pay for those 3 weeks. Haven't got a penny of it. Now, 2 weeks ago, they asked me to do a last minute recovery for him. The guy went home. He's no longer with the company. He got COVID and quit, apparently. Left his truck and load sitting in a parking lot at a truck stop there in Tulsa, Arizona. That was delivering to Kroger's in Tulsa, Arizona. They asked me to go to the dealership, get a key that they had cut for it, go pick up his load and deliver it. Well, it was a Kroger load. It's already 10 days late. You need an appointment. They wouldn't let me in. They wouldn't accept it. Had to schedule an appointment. So I took it back to the yard and they had me do 2 other local recoveries, or local runs rather. They told me you'll get $75 additional pay, X-pay to pick up, and you'll get an extra $75 once you drop off. Once you pick up and deliver, pick up and deliver. Just local stuff, which I did that. So they owe me $450 right there in X-pay. Haven't seen a penny of it yet. Last week I was told you will get paid. It will be in this week's settlement. I got my settlement in earlier. Spoke to the dispatcher. He said, oh no, you should have got paid for that. I know it got put in because I stood there at Lauren's desk and watched her enter. Well, it never got paid. I never got it. I am pissed about that. So I'm owed $450 there. I'm owed a couple $1,000 in detention pay. I'm owed around $7,000 in unpaid revenue from last year and part of this year, mind you. Now, last time I was in the yard there, I had to have my 3-way. The 2 air lines and the power line that connects the tractor to the trailer for the air for the brakes and the electricity for the lights. That was wearing out. I had a little bulge in it, so I had to replace one of the airlines, so they've just replaced all 3 of them. Well, the mechanic that installed it put an extra loop on it, which was fine. Well, what he didn't do was add an extra spring hanger to it. He put the first loop and the second loop on the same hanger, which drastically shortened the cable length from the hanger to the trailer. So on my first run, making the delivery, I had a really tight, it's like an 87-degree turn, almost back onto myself, almost having a jackknife to make the turn. The lines were so short, it ended up damaging my power line and ripped the faceplate off of the trailer, the power connection, the power plug, the pigtail, ripped it right out. When it did so, it came down and caught the edge of my catwalk. It stripped some of the wires on the wiring harness. So I called into the shop right away, make arrangements to get that fixed. I was told, yeah, don't worry about it. I sent them pictures of everything, how it was set up, how it was installed on my truck. Don't worry about it. It's not your fault. You're not going to have to pay for it. They just charged me $350 for it. For something they know is not my fault, and they told me I wouldn't be charged for. So now I got to fight with them to get that money back. Now I got one other charge back on there. They're charging me $600 for a rim and tire, which I agree, but at the same time I don't agree. I know it didn't cost that much to replace the rim and tire. Tires what, 200 and change, or rims 100 and change. Service call maybe another 200, but $600, come on. That was out in California. I was on a 2-lane road, had a car parked on the opposite side of the street facing me on the curb. The guy just, no warning, no signal, no nothing, just pulls off the curb, makes a U-turn right in front of me, nearly hit the front quarter of my truck. I swerved to avoid hitting him, ended up mounting the curb, and when I did so, it bent the rim and blew out the tire on the front outside on the trailer, trying to avoid that collision. I can see where they're trying to hold me somewhat accountable for that. They're saying, oh, you must not have been paying attention. I seen the guy sitting there. All of a sudden his lights came on and he just made the turn in front of me. No signal, no nothing. He was parked on the curb. I wasn't expecting him to pull off the curb like that. But at least I'm always expecting something to happen. And I'm always ready to take whatever action I need to take to avoid a collision. I always leave myself a way out, which some drivers fail to do, and that's bad news on them. In this situation, my way out was going up on the curb, unfortunately. So yeah, they're holding me responsible for that. Now, under the new contracts we were forced to sign under duress on now mind you, earlier this year they came out with, oh, you got to sign a new contract. No, I don't. Yes, you do. Why do I need to sign a new contract? If you want to keep working here, now they're threatening my job. Greg Mummy's threatening my job. If you want to keep working here and you want to keep that truck, you have to sign that today, or you're not leaving here with that truck today. You're done with the company. We're going to terminate your contract. Really? I don't need to sign a new contract. You can't force me to sign a new contract. My contract doesn't expire for another year and a half. Well, he goes, no, there's no expiration in those contracts. There's no expiration date. I said, really? Come out to the truck. I printed out the original contract. I got it scanned in and saved on my laptop. I got a mobile office on my truck. I can scan, copy, print, fax everything right from my truck. I got a mobile printer, a mobile scanner, Wi-Fi hotspot, my laptop. I have an eFax account. So I have access to everything. I got a mobile office. I can scan, print, copy, do everything right from my truck. I can even fax, send and receive faxes right from my truck. So I printed it out, went and showed it to him. It says, right here, page 14, duration of contract. This contract shall remain in force for 3 years following the date of signing. Well, the date that it was signed was January 8, 2020. We're in, I believe it was April, either May or April 2021 when they were forcing us to sign these new contracts. So he got on the phone, made a call with somebody that was supposedly the attorney for the company, and he said, I'm standing right there while he's talking to the guy. He's like, well, I didn't know there was an expiration date. Well, what do I do? How do I handle this? Talked to the attorney for a few minutes, and he's like, okay, I got to call Randy. Randy Timms, the owner of Western Flyer Express, calls Randy up, talks to Randy about it. And now it came to, we can't get rid of him then, but if he wants to keep his raise and his pay bump, he's got to sign the new contract, or we're taking the raise away from him, we're taking the pay bump away from him. Excuse me? Okay, so now you've gone from threatening my job to threatening my pay. If I don't sign this contract, you're going to cut my pay? Let me see the contract that you want me to sign. I read the contract. You gave me a 4-page contract. I read over it. It was not the one for me. It had somebody else's name on it, and a lot of the stuff was not filled out on it. It looked like it was just a sample contract that he downloaded off the internet, to be honest with you. Fine. You're going to screw me on my pay? I'll sign the damn thing. I had to go over. Now, originally I just had 2 contracts to sign. This time I had 3 contracts to sign. Went over to the main building, signed the first 2, came back over and signed the one with him. But I added one little caveat to the contracts. I read the contract. It did not match what was on the sample contract he gave me, and it did not match what was in my original contract. So, well, it's no big deal. We just changed some of the wording around a little bit to make it a little easier to understand. No, you didn't. And that's bull. And one of the things in it is they changed the way they calculate the fuel surcharge. We're supposed to be getting 100% of our fuel surcharge. They changed the calculation formula they use where we're getting less of a fuel surcharge than we should be getting. and it's pissing me off. But yeah, I signed it. But right next to my name, I put down the initials, SUD, signed under duress. This contract, they forced me to sign it. They threatened my job. They threatened my pay. That's forcing me to sign the contract under duress. It's illegal, and it's been added to the lawsuit. Now, I alluded earlier to a major lawsuit against Western Flyer Express. It was filed back on December 7th, 2020. I will leave a link to the complaint so you can read it. I've pulled down and read it. It's 65 pages. It's worth the read. As well, I will also leave the information for the law firm that is handling it. Well, it turns out this gentleman, I believe his name was Andrew Bissell. If I'm pronouncing your last name wrong, Andrew, and you're watching this, I do apologize. He owns a small trucking company, J&B Enterprises, based out of Colorado. According to the complaint, he came to work here at Western Flyer Express expecting to be able to get a new truck to add to his fleet and run his own loads under Western Flyer Express's name, authority, and insurance. No, it don't work like that. I'm sorry. So that part of his lawsuit, I'm sure, is going to get tossed instantly. But other parts of it related to the lease purchase program, and they point out that it violates certain provisions of both state and federal law. And there's some hours issues in there. When he's throwing in the hours that we work every week, this attorney is based out of California. So I do believe he's trying to apply the California model to it, and California law that now says you have to be paid for every on-duty hour, a regular rate, minimum wage. Even if you're driving and getting your mileage rate, they still have to pay you both mileage rate and the minimum wage, which I think is like $15 an hour now in California, ain't it? For every hour on duty, plus overtime. So the first 40 hours, we normally work a 70-hour week. So the first 40 hours are $15 an hour, and then the remaining 30 hours of the week will be paid at $22.50, I think it breaks down to $22.50, $23, something like that, in overtime, plus the mileage rate, if you're a California-based driver. I think they're trying to apply that to it, so I don't think that's going to go anywhere in the suit either. But there's other provisions of the suit where they're challenging the legality of Western Flyer Express's lease purchase contract and the contract position. And they're making this retro, and it's a class action suit. All drivers that have worked, are currently working, or will work in the future, going all the way back 3 years from the date of filing, so that will make it December 7th of 2017, all the way through until the case is finalized in court, in federal court. It was filed in the district, Northern District of Oklahoma, and federal court. So we'll see what happens there. It does have class action status. It is moving forward. I'll leave, like I said, I'll leave a link to the complaint and the attorney's information in the description below. This is a multi-million-dollar lawsuit they filed against the company. They're trying to force the company to, as a punitive, refund all the payments that the drivers have made on the trucks in the lease purchase program. They've determined that the company has about a 125% turnover rate. So more drivers are leaving than they're coming to work here. That's part of, they say it's part of the scheme. Then on day one, they lie to you just to get you there with this contract lease purchase scheme is the way they put it. So there's a lot of good information in that. A lot of things that had me say, So we're going to see what happens there, where that part of the lawsuit stands. And when I spoke to the attorney on the phone, he did reach out to me. It seems that they're not only trying to ask the court for all our money to be refunded to us, but that the titles to these vehicles be turned over to us as well. We'll see. That part of it I don't see happening, but you never know. But this lawsuit was filed in December of last year, and then early this year they came out with these new contracts and they were forcing us to sign contracts under duress. So, I mean, I've talked to the attorney about that. I had to scan in both contracts that they had me sign and forward them over to him for comparison. He says, yeah, there's a lot of changes here. I mean, a lot of the stuff, even in the new contract, is no good. He said it's a good thing that you wrote signed under duress at the bottom of it with what they did to you. That gives you a little more protection. It covers you a little bit more. So basically, this new contract is null and void because it was signed under duress. The other thing we talked about is, by our calculations, so far to date, the company has stole over $3 million from drivers with their new fuel discount scam. Now, earlier this year, they made a big deal out of it. We can only get fuel now at Pilot and Flying J because they worked out a big, huge discount, 55 to 65 cents a gallon, and that's our money. But we're paying for the fuel. Of course, that's our money. Then they came out with the pay raise program and those so-called bump and pay on top of it, which is not a bump and pay. I'll get into how that scam works here in a minute. But all of a sudden, after the new pay tables came into effect, our fuel rebate dropped from 55 to 65 cents a gallon to 5 cents a gallon. So I asked Greg Mummy about it. Well, because we gave you guys a pay raise, we decided to keep all but 5 cents of it. No, you can't do that. That's not your money. You have no right to keep that money. You got that discount for us, and of course partially for yourself because you're cashing in on that on your company trucks, the few company drivers they have. Part of that money's being funneled into Randy's racing team. He's got a little small, I guess it's an open wheel or sprint car racing team that he sponsors and he runs. So it's race season, so all the money's going into that. But yeah, when they turn around and they've given us that 55 to 65 cents a gallon on a discount, then decide to reduce it to 5 cents a gallon is all we're getting, and they're keeping the rest of it. They're stealing from us. They are embezzling from us. That money is our money. We are paying for the fuel. They are not paying for the fuel. It's a little hard to follow, but basically is they're getting what we're paying at the pump and what we're actually paying at billing are two different things. They're charging us, even though they're not being billed the 55 to 65 cents a gallon, they're charging us the 55 to 65 cents a gallon and then giving us 5 cents a gallon back. It's basically what they're doing. And they're keeping that money for themselves. And like I said, a tune of over $3 million. The attorney wasn't aware of this, so I had to send him all my settlements, all my fuel receipts. And I do have every single fuel receipt, broken down in envelopes. See, every month I do an envelope. All my receipts go into it. At the end of the month, it gets sealed, and I start a new envelope. All receipts for fuel purchases, truck washes, anything I buy for the truck, anything that's tax deductible goes into that envelope each month and goes into the box for taxes. So I have every one of my receipts. I have screenshots. I have to go through and find them again. But we use EFS for our fuel purchases. You can go into the EFS app, you can check the local prices and see what has the best price around you. Now I pull up to a pump, I would go to the app for Pilot Flying J, see what the price of the pump is on the app, pump the fuel, then I would go on to the EFS app, pull up that purchase to see how much I was actually charged. And you can see a clear difference. If I can find the pictures, I'll post them up here if I remember. You can see a clear difference there between the pump price and what we're actually paying, and then all of a sudden the dramatic change to where it dropped down to a 5 cent a gallon difference with the extra money going back to the company. It really pisses me off. I mean, out of everybody, they got a really high turnover rate. I consider myself a very loyal person, a very dedicated person. Everything that's going on, I'm still here, although I am looking for other employment right now. And I'm trying even harder to get my freight brokership up and running so I can stop driving. But I'm still here. I've been here a year and 8 months now. Almost a year and almost 8 months. And I'm the only one left from my orientation class. Everybody, all the 47 drivers that came in with me, they're already gone. They've already moved on to bigger and better things. But part of the thing the lawsuit states is that less than 1% of the drivers actually complete the lease purchase program and get to take ownership of the trucks. For the $1 that they say you buy the truck for at the end of your lease for $1. And they give you the buck for the buyout at orientation. There's a lot of that back on the earlier videos if you want to check it out. I break down the pay base and how the lease program and everything works here as a line item. I go through each and every line and explain fully what's going on there. Now on the I said I talked to you guys about their pay raise, the paid bump on top of it. They're considering a paid bump. They were originally charging us 12 cents a mile for the fuel purchase, not the fuel purchase program, the maintenance program. But it covers all our expendables. Things like headlights, shocks, brakes, tires, oil changes, belts. Anything that wears out that's not normally covered in a standard warranty program is covered for the 12 cents a mile. But they stopped short at saying, oh, we're not calling it a bumper-to-bumper warranty because, well, you're in the seat, you're between the bumpers, that includes you, and we're not paying for you. I don't know if they're just trying to be funny or what, but that's how they put it. So they reduced that to 5 cents. They reduced that to 7 cents a mile. They're letting us keep 5 cents of our money until the truck reaches 400,000 miles. Then we go back up to paying 12 cents a mile for the warranty program. My truck right now, I've got 352,000 miles on it. In a couple of months, I'm going to be losing 5 cents a mile because it's going back into paying the maintenance fee on this truck until it's paid for in full. I'm almost paid for the truck. I only need another 300,000 miles and the truck's paid off. I put 200,000 miles on this thing in a year and a half. So another year and a half, the truck's paid for. The truck's mine. If I keep it that long. Now, so they're only, all they've done is reduce the amount of money they're deducting from our pay for the maintenance program temporarily. And they're calling that a pay bump. And then they gave us a pay rise up to 10 cents a mile, depending on how long you've been here and where you're at. So I am now capped out at $1.17 a mile. Plus the fuel surcharge, which they're not paying me 100% for like they're supposed to. Less the money they're stealing from me on the fuel rebate scam. Or the fuel discount scam, I should say. When a company starts doing things like that, making it harder for us to get repairs, forcing the contractors now to pay for repairs to trailers that we don't own, we just pull. If it's something done out of negligence, where I decide to take it off-roading, or take a curve too fast and tip it over, I mean, back it into something at a high rate of speed, I mean, where we do damage to it, yeah, okay, I can see holding us responsible. But when it's normal wear and tear, when a tire goes, we pick up a trailer that's got a flat tire on it, pick up a trailer that's 18 months past due for its DOT inspection, and I've had a lot of those. I've picked up a lot of trailers, primarily reefers, that were a year plus past due on their annual DOT inspections. I picked up 3 trailers on our yard in Oklahoma City this year that were preloaded back in the beginning of the year. 2 of them in a week's time that made it through the inspection lane, got dropped off on the lot, and the driver went on his way. The techs that were supposed to be doing the inspection on the vehicles didn't catch it when they came in. The drivers weren't doing proper pre-trips, because if they were, they would be looking at that expiration date. That's part of your pre-trip, to make sure that the annual DOT inspection is current. They're not doing that, so drivers are dropping the ball. Our mechanics were dropping the ball on the inbound inspection lane. I made a big stink about it. Word ended up getting back to Randy, the owner. Supposedly, he got involved in it. He was pissed off, and allegedly somebody lost their job over it. I doubt that's the truth, but you never know. But now we're out there running around. You got drivers out there running around with trailers that are out of service violations, big fines. Because that's all right, I'll just leave it for the next driver, if they do see it. I don't leave stuff for the next driver. And I get so pissed off when I pick up a trailer that's got a flat tire on it. I had to go out to the drop yard in Henderson, Colorado, which is actually on Warner's property. We rent a few spaces from Warner Enterprises, from Warner Trucking. I went out there one day. I'm pulling through the parking lot, coming up to my trailer. Passenger side of the trailer, both outer tires I can see in the dark, halfway across the parking lot. Both tires were blown. The tread was gone. It was just the sidewalls left on both tires. So that driver ran something over and ran that trailer for a long distance, dropped it off, pulled away, didn't say anything to anybody. So I had to call in for road service to come out, and they didn't come out until the next day. Because, again, financial stress. The companies don't want to pay the extra money for the night service call to send somebody out with 2 new tires to change those 2 tires. And they were going to try and hold me responsible for that? No. I was picking the trailer up preloaded. I hadn't even hooked up to it yet. I hadn't even sent my load call or anything. I said, look, I'm just shutting down for the night until they fix this. And that's what I did. It was the next morning. I didn't get the trailer until that afternoon. So now the load was a day and a half late. But it's my fault. Some of the other stuff I see going on here that leads me to believe that the company is on its way out, yet again, is their increased security around the main building. Now to get in, you have to go through a video doorbell, even though it's a big glass door right there, they can see who it is. There's a mag lock on it now, so you can't open the door. You gotta ring the buzzer. If they don't recognize you, they'll talk to you through the video doorbell. Who are you? What are you doing? What do you want? Who are you here to see? Yada, yada, yada. You walk in, you sign, as soon as you step in the door, you sign the sign-in book, let them know who you're there to see again. They'll let that person know that you're there, and you got to sit out in these uncomfortable seats in the front lobby, sometimes for hours on end. God forbid you need to use the bathroom. You cannot get into the bathrooms there in the main building now. To get through that door, we used to be able to just walk right in to get to the bathroom by the classrooms and some of the offices. It is now locked, and you need a key card to get through them. So you got to walk a quarter mile across the parking lot to the driver's lounge to use the bathroom. Walk back. You got to sign out to walk out to go to the bathroom. You got to sign back, go to the doorbell thing, sign back in again, and hope that the person you were waiting to see didn't come out, see you weren't there, went back in about his business, and now you're going to be stuck in a few more hours waiting for them to come back out most of the time. They're worried that people are going to start freaking out, coming in and attacking them. That's why they're adding these extra security precautions. I would say one of the doorbells that they had up, there's a inner hallway and an outer hallway. Where you walk up to enter the building, there was a doorbell there. Don't know what happened. They took it down shortly after they put it up. But once you're on the inner hallway to get to the offices, that's where you got to go through the doorbell. Again, they had 2 doorbells set up originally. Video doorbells. I guess they realized the redundancy of it, and they took one of them back down. They're adding cameras around the property. They're trying to make a big show out of, oh, we're remodeling the showers and the break rooms for you guys. Well, it's not that you're doing it for us. You have to do it because they weren't up to code. You're trying to make a big deal out of it, saying, oh, we're spending all this money to fix this up for you guys. Well, they're reducing this from 3 showers to 2 showers. Although they are putting in, well, they did have computers up there before that we could use, but you couldn't do regular surfing on it. You could only do whatever they wanted you to do. Business-related stuff, like scanning your trips. But they're setting that up now in one of the rooms that was originally a shower. And they put up a little bigger TV in the break room, the driver's lounge, but they're taking the vending machines out of the driver's lounge. Now the only vending machines is one of those little on-site marketplaces with the automatic checkout, with the self-checkout rather, register. That is for the dispatchers and the people in the main building. So now you want to get something to snack on, you got to walk there, leave the driver's lounge, walk a quarter mile over to the main building to get something to snack on or to use the microwave or anything like that, and then walk back over. Yeah, in the driver's lounge there is a little small kitchen. My understanding is you're going to be closing that down. There are, for now, free washers and dryers, but they're talking about putting in paid washers and dryers now for the drivers to use, which kind of sucks. But at the same time it doesn't. I mean, we can write off our laundry on our taxes as independent contractors, as owner-operators, as lease drivers. Company drivers, they cannot write that off on their taxes. It sucks that they made changes like that under Obama. I was talking to one of the technicians over there. He was telling me, one of the IT guys. He was telling me how they're looking at taking the satellite TV systems out of the trucks. A lot of the new trucks I see coming in don't have the satellite TV systems installed in them, don't have the APUs or EPUs on them. They're not installing, from what I understand, they're not installing power inverters in the trucks anymore. Or they might still be doing it, just smaller ones, cost cutting, saving money. Of course, there's like 1,500 trucks. It's some probably like $60 or $70 a month for each truck for a satellite TV. Yeah, I can see where that can be an expensive bill. What they're talking about and considering doing is getting Verizon Jetpack Wi-Fi hotspots, putting them in all the trucks, and adding like a Roku or a Fire Stick to the TVs that are in the trucks, so you can watch TV through the internet. Well, the problem with that is those Wi-Fi hotspots don't work everywhere, unlike satellite TV. Yeah, that might be a little cheaper that way, but keep in mind, once you use a certain amount of data, they slow down the speeds. Now you're going to have buffering issues. You're going to have interrupted videos. You're not going to be able to watch TV or anything when you try and sit down and relax for your 10-hour break or even your 34-hour break. Whereas with satellite TV, for the most part, uninterrupted satellite TV, uninterrupted video signal. And the other thing he said is you will not be allowed to use that Wi-Fi hotspot for your personal devices, laptops, or anything like that. So that's kind of pointless anyways. Now me, I have my own Wi-Fi hotspot on the truck, like I mentioned earlier. The other day I decided to pull up Western Flyers FMCSA record, just for giggles and grins. Went looking at it, looking at their authority history, their insurance history. Wow, do they insurance company hop all over the place. There's multiple entries on there for name change under the insurance. There's multiple canceled insurance policies where they change from one to another. One of their authorities, their home goods authority, household goods rather, for moving houses, that was revoked, where the FMCSA said, no, you can't do that anymore. We're mad at you. You're not allowed to do household moves anymore. There's multiple voluntary revocations where they said, you know what, take the authority. We don't want it anymore. keep it. Where they shut down, went out of business, reorganized, and opened up under a similar or the same name. They've changed the signs around the yard now at the building now. It's now RWTL, I think it's RWTL, RTWL Capacity Solutions is what they're calling themselves now, not Western Fire Express. When you pull up to the building, there's signs outside the building. Log off and shut down your Qualcomm. No. They're saying, oh yeah, you can just log off your Qualcomm, it's going to be alright. No, it's not going to be alright. You're moving that truck around, you're sitting in that truck. You're logging false information. Only time I log out of my Qualcomm and log it off is when the truck is going into the shop, because I know the mechanics sometimes going to have to drive it around, do test drives, make sure the repairs are working, what have you. And I don't want the time that they're driving affecting my hours of service. And a lot of these mechanics, they don't know enough to go and change the duty status on the Qualcomm from driving to off duty or whatever. So when I log back into the Qualcomm, it'll ask me there is unassigned driving time. Do you want to assign this to driver? And gives my driver code. And of course I say no, reject, log in as off duty, so I don't lose all my hours. Or if it's been there for 2 days, I get my 34-hour break in. Unlike what happened when the truck was at the dealership up there in Tolson for that week, for the bung. Of course, they got the sensors disconnected, they got stuff tore down, so of course the batteries are disconnected. Well, the internal battery in the Qualcomm drained, it died. The truck was down for a week. When they fixed everything up, they took it for the little test drive around the parking lot. They parked it and shut the batteries off right away, killing the power to the Qualcomm before it was able to recharge its own batteries. Well, they shut it off while it was in drive mode, while it was on the drive line. They called me up hours after the truck was ready. By the time I get to it, it was 14 and a half hours the truck had been sitting there on drive time on the Qualcomm, which is a huge DOT violation. 11 hours is the maximum. So I get in the truck, I go to log on, it says you have the unassigned drive time. Do you want to assign this driver? I said no, reject, go in, log in is off duty. Well, they logged me in straight to driving. The Qualcomm was frozen and locked on driving because they killed the battery to it, and that was the last input it had. So as far as it knew, for the last 14 and a half hours, I've been driving straight non-stop. So of course, I can't edit the drive line. I call our logs department over in the safety division. They look at it, so unfortunately, we can't touch that anymore. We don't even have access to that part of the system anymore. The FMCSA changed the regulations on it. Before, we could make edits in certain situations like yours, but now we can't. But what they did do is they were able to add a message to it. They were able to flag it. Basically said, truck was in shop without power, Qualcomm stuck in drive line, driver logged out. Which still, I don't know if that would protect me or not, doing a DOT inspection. They said call over to Qualcomm tech support and see if there's something they can do to clear that out. Because it wouldn't even let me log off. I had to wait like 15 minutes before I was able to log from driving to off duty. No matter how many times I put it on off duty, off duty, off duty, it still stayed on drive until my log updates were done, and my log updates were showing that I had a major DOT violation, that I'd been on duty for a full week, and I've been driving for the last 14 and a half hours straight. So I was able to go in and edit the on-duty time, but all those drive times from where they were driving around doing their test drives and stuff, I couldn't touch those lines. I get on with Qualcomm. Qualcomm came to the same conclusion that I had, that it was because the battery was dead, the internal battery was dead. It was in drive mode when they shut it off, and it locked it into drive mode for a while. but there was nothing they could do to correct it either because of the new FMCSA regulations and guidelines. Which in the beginning was no big deal. I mean, it's the evening of the 13th. I can just go ahead and do, with the notes they put into the computer, I'm just going to do personal conveyance and bobtail back over to our yard, which was 11 miles away. And just I'm getting ready to leave, I turned and said, you know something, let me go double check on that trailer, see if they maybe left me an empty, and make sure my load got picked up, because I know I was there for the week. Like I said earlier, I made arrangements multiple times to make sure that load got picked up and delivered, while my load was still sitting on the yard. So now, because of that drive mix-up, I'm talking to my safety department, and I say, you know, I was just going to PC over to the yard, but now I'm under this yard, under this load. I'm leaving in the morning for my vacation. I'm tempted to just PC over to the yard, just filling her out to see what she would say. She goes, well, I can't tell you to do that, but I'll make a note here and look at it tomorrow. If that's what you do, I'll do what I can to fix it. I didn't do that. I stayed there. I took a 10-hour break, got my hours reset. I was able to edit out all the on-duty time from where I was sitting there in the shop, not driving, to a point where I was able to get in my 10-hour break, so I had the hours to make the drive. I had like 58 minutes, I think is what I wound up with, because of all the drive time that was on there, and the hours I was at when I got there, I was at low on hours anyways, on my 70. So I was able to drive, took my 10-hour break, got the trailer over to the yard, like I said, 2:30 in the morning, I think it was, and booked a flight and flew out of there going to Vegas so I can make my trip to Alaska. So I lost the $1,300 and change I had paid on the round-trip tickets from Oklahoma City to Phoenix, or rather to Vegas and back, and it cost me an additional $500 to go from Phoenix to Las Vegas and back, just so I can make my trip going up on that $3,500 or so that I had tied up on that trip, that I wasn't about to lose that money, because it was a non-refundable trip, non-refundable tickets. So I don't know if any of this stuff makes any sense to you guys. I mean, like I said, I just want to give you a brief little update here. I mean, I'm fighting with them for money they owe me. I don't know if I'll ever see it. I had to fight with them for months to get breakdown pay that they owed me from all the way back in October of last year. Greg finally gave me half of it and said, I'll give you half this week and you'll get the other half next week. Never got the other half. Next week came and gone. I brought it up to him many times. All I get are crickets. I was one time I went in there to talk to him about stuff, and I didn't realize my phone was on recording, and it had been recording for several hours. I had the voice recorder on the main screen. Sometimes I'll tap it when I'm driving just to make notes to myself, to remind myself of something. And apparently I hid it somewhere, or I hid it in my pocket or whatever, and it was recording and I didn't realize it. Well, when I was going through and it's showing the text messages on the exchange we had for going back and forth about the breakdown pay that he promised me multiple times over the course of several months, he noticed the red light was on up in the corner, which I didn't look at because I wasn't looking at that part of the camera. I was looking at the other screen. Apparently he noticed it was a record indicator on there, which I never even noticed before. Are you recording me? No, why? He goes, well, what's that red light? I looked at him like, son of a bitch. I went and looked at the thing. It had been recording for like 3 hours straight, audio. So it heard me on the TV. I had my conversations I was having with people. Heard me walking around. Even had it on there when I went to the bathroom. So yeah, of course I deleted that. And it wasn't intentional. Now every time I walk into the office, first words out of his mouth, you're not recording me again, are you? Dude, really? I don't even know what I gotta find out what the law is on recording conversations in Oklahoma. I don't know if it's a single party consent or a dual party consent state. So I don't even know what's going on there. So yeah, I don't know if it'd even be legal to record a conversation between us anyways, and I'm not going to risk it. I mean, there's a lot of shady things that have been going on the last couple months here. I mean, they're fighting you every way they can to not pay you money they owe you. Now, when I say they owe me around $7,000 for underpaid money for last year and part of this year. Well, when I first came in, I came in for the flatbed fleet. Well, all of a sudden, there's no openings on the flatbed fleet. They put me on the I-40 and below, basically the regional fleet. Then after the contracts were signed and everything, they convinced me, you know, why don't you, you'll get more money if you go, instead of getting $1.07 a mile, because I was maxed out when I came in at top pay rate, $1.07 a mile, never get any more than that. You get a nickel more a mile, so that makes you out $1.12 a mile for over the road for all 48. And I agreed to it, and we signed a pay addendum where they agreed that they were going to give me an additional 5 cents a mile for going over the road, all 48. Well, without realizing I'd forgotten about that, and I never got that nickel a mile pay bump that I was supposed to get, that increase in pay. So I should have been getting $1.12 a mile for every mile I drove last year and parts of this year, and so they gave us that 10 cent a mile raise. Well, when I was talking to recruiting about the new pay programs and stuff, because I was preparing the video for you guys, she caught it. Recruiting caught it and pointed it out to me. Wait a minute, you should be getting $1.12 for all that. You should have been, yeah, they messed up here. You need to go talk to them about that. And I had a couple people work on it, and all of a sudden I was like, well, you waited too long, so now you're not getting it. Really? That's something I spoke to the attorney about too. He said he don't know what he can do on that, but he will look into it. I'm not expecting anything more. But if the company is getting ready to go out of business again, or they're getting ready to sell, I got to do something to get the money that they owe me. I just don't know what to do or how to go about getting it. I mean, as it is right now, I've got probably about $75,000 tied up in this truck in payments, and the truck is basically a limit. I've had it in multiple times. I've had multiple systems repaired repeatedly. Oil leak, 7 times for an oil leak. Twice now we've replaced the DEF pump. I've replaced one of the brake chambers twice in 30 days. I've replaced this DEF pump twice in a year's time. I've replaced the front shocks, put new tires on. I replaced a total of 3 of the 4 brake chambers on the drive line, on the drive wheels. I've had several sensors go. This truck's been towed at least a half dozen times because of breakdowns. The power distribution block on the firewall where the power lines come in from the batteries and the alternator and pass through to go into the fuse box, that fried on me on the road. So I had to go and get towed for that. What else we got going on here? I've had to replace a single SAM, which is the fuse box. As I mentioned earlier, I had to replace the filter housing for the DEF pump. Yeah, what else we've done to this truck? I've done so much it's hard to keep up. I got a note somewhere on it, but this truck's been almost completely rebuilt, let's just say. I went to get in a 3-axle alignment because it was starting to eat up my tires, my new tires. Was told by the frame shop out there in Effingham, Illinois, that this frame is bent. Well, they've spent hours trying to do it before somebody else came in, looked at it, measured everything out, and said, yeah, dude, that frame's bent. There's no way we can fix this. They had me bring it all the way back to Oklahoma City and take it over to their alignment shop, and their alignment guy did it, and everything's good. No, it's not. I mean, I've noticed issues with this truck. Whenever I can be backing up in a straight line. I have my wheels perfectly straight on a straight line, backing up, and the trailer starts to kick out to the driver's side. And the more I back up, the more further out it gets. When I'm trying to back into a spot and turn in to pull into a dock, that rear end always kicks over on me way much further than it should, way much further than I've ever had any other trailer do what it's doing to me in my 15 years of driving. Now, the guys at the shop originally in Effingham, they put a level across the rear frame and they showed me where it was tweaked and where it was bent. They got up under the front suspension and showed me where my front suspension is tweaked a little bit. One of my rear drive axle was twisted a little bit, was bent back more than it should have been, putting pressure on the drive line, which is probably one of the reasons why we've resealed the rear differentials twice in a year's time. We've had to do the axle flange seals on both axles on the driver's side. What else have I replaced on this truck? I've had coolant leaks, had a power steering leak. Those are common. But still, the point is I'm having these issues on a truck that shouldn't be having these kinds of issues on. Now they looked at the truck, they're trying to put, oh, see on the hood here, all the insulation and everything there, this is the original hood. This truck was never hit. There's no way that frame's bent. Really? Well, if somebody T-boned or rear-ended it at an angle, it's going to push the trailer the right way where it's going to twist the frame a little bit. If a driver made a bad turn and the wheels got caught in a ditch and lifted the back end up off the ground, it's going to twist the frame a little bit without doing any damage to the front end, to the hood or anything like that. But they're trying to point out that if it was a new hood or they replaced the hood, this insulation wouldn't be here, or this wouldn't be here, or that wouldn't be here. Not necessarily true. Not necessarily true. Depends on who did the work and if they used OEM parts or not. Brand new truck, I would hope they used OEM parts. I got the truck with about 140,000 miles on it. Like I said, right now I've got over 350,000 miles on it. I put over 200,000 miles on this myself solo in a year and a half's time. It's almost paid for. It's almost paid off. They said, well, we can move you into another truck. Why don't we do that? Well, are you going to transfer the payments that I have in this truck over to the new truck? No, why the hell will we do that? Well, because the truck's a limit. We're not doing that. Okay. Well, I looked around the lot to see what they had for available trucks. It was a truck that was available. I went, looked at it and said, why don't I just move into this truck? The mileage is close to mine, so I won't be losing, I'll only lose a couple $1,000 rather than the $75,000 having to start from scratch with a brand new truck. How many miles did your truck got? I was like 348,000 at the time. Because how many miles did that other truck have? No, I'm sorry, I had 338,000 miles. That truck had 327,000 miles on it. Oh, I'm not doing a lease on a truck with over 300,000 miles on it. That's going to be the company truck. Well, you just said it was available. Now because it's half paid for, my truck's half paid for, you don't want to work with me to reduce my losses? It's not like you're losing any money on the truck. That truck's already got almost the same amount of money paid into it that my truck does. Well, I've run into that truck since on the yard. Somebody leased it. They signed a lease contract to that truck to somebody else, which pisses me off to no end. In the beginning, I love this new company. It was a great company in the beginning. There for a while, I was averaging $2,200 to $2,500 a week paychecks. I haven't seen those in a couple months now. I'm talking to a lot of drivers that are complaining, yeah, man, we're not getting any freaking miles. I'm getting maybe 12 to 1,500 miles a week. I can't keep doing this. I got to go somewhere else. I'm leaving. The driver that I swapped with the other day, he's swapping with me to take a load up to Oklahoma City so we can turn the truck in. He's out of here. He's leaving. Because he's not getting paid any money anymore. He's only been here a couple months. I think he said he came in May. And he's already leaving because he's not making the money that they said he'd be making. He's not getting the miles that they said he'd be making. My dispatcher, Hunter Paulson, nice kid. He's fairly new to dispatching. I guess he worked for, I think he said Warner before he came over here, in fact. I could be wrong on that. So he dispatched for somebody else before he came over here. I want to say Warner, but I'm probably wrong on that. I mean, he's trying. He's just got too much on his plate. I think as far as, I mean, drivers complaining to him about being shorted on pay and being owed money. But who knows? Oh, I gotta stop and get fuel here in a little bit, about another half hour. And these winds are bad, it's starting to rain. Jeez. And I'm light, I'm only 55,000 pounds right now. I've got 18,000 pounds worth of furniture in the box. Yeah, I know I mentioned earlier that they revoked our household goods authority. But even though this is furniture, it's not technically a household goods move because it's going from the manufacturer to the store. It's not going to somebody's house, which is a type of authority that they have revoked and taken away from them. They've got a lot of cancellations on their insurance. They got a lot of name changes under their insurance. They've got a lot of voluntary and involuntary revocations on their authorities. They do have their own broker authority and their own general freight authority, which is what I used to have. I'm thinking if I can get this truck paid off, I want to get myself a household goods trailer, you know, like you see on United Van Lines or Allied Van Lines, or 2 Men in a Truck, you know, those moving companies. Reactivate my old authority, my carrier authority, add household goods to it, hire a couple guys, and start a PCS moving company. For those of you that don't know, that have never served in the military, a PCS move is permanent change of station. That's usually when you're moving from one base to another, or you're getting ready to leave the military for good, you're ETSing, or you're retiring, however you want to put it. Those are the movers that come in and they move your property for you. There's a lot of problems with these guys, so I mean, a lot of them, a lot of people are having stuff coming up broken, stuff coming up missing, stuff getting left behind. The PCS movers, they have to come in. They're supposed to inventory and photograph everything and do the packing for you, which I never did when I served. I did all my packing myself on my PCS. But that's the way it is now. They supposedly they have to come in and do everything for you now, which I don't think is right. I've already spoke to somebody in the VA and over in the Department of Justice about setting up and find out what the requirements are for a PCS mover. I'm going to start moving forward there. I mean, I know we got people transferring out of Alaska, people transferring into Alaska all the time. So I have to get my authority for both the United States and Canada so they can transfer, drive the loads through the two of them. But we'll see what happens. I mean, that's something I'm thinking about doing. I mean, it'd be a decent little contract to have on the side. Of course, with only one truck, I'd be limited on the amount of moves I can do in a month. And these guys need to be able to take some time off. Although I might just look for an Expeditors truck. Not Expeditors. Yeah, an Expeditors truck. You know, it's got basically a mini RV built into the truck. It'll have a refrigerator, a little gas-fired kitchen, shower, toilet, microwave, all that good stuff, kind of like you'd see in an RV. And some of those Expediter trucks are set up really damn nice, especially those moving trucks. That's why you see those big cabs on them, because they are moving trucks. They have condo cabs on them, condo sleepers. They're basically RVs, and some of them are, may as well call them luxury trucks. And they'll have 3 or 4 guys on that one big truck to do the move. You usually got the foreman, who's the driver. You might have a co-driver, but everybody works to pack, unpack, load and unload the trucks. But if I do this, Anybody that I hire, I'm only going to hire veterans. People I know I can trust. People that know what it's like to go through a PCS move and have property disappear, have property arrive broken, and not have any recourse to recover your losses. And of course, there are some items that they're not permitted to move. But we'll see how all that goes, and that's something I'm definitely looking into setting up in as a future endeavor. Now, if I do get my viability score down to 3 and get signed up with these 3 government contracts, where I'll be making a couple $1 million a year, that'll be nice and easy to buy 2 or 3 trucks, brand new trucks, brand new trailers, set everything up nice, make sure these guys are comfortable, make sure they're making money, and get them accounts doing PCS moves. Now, one of those trucks is going to cost you $250,000 for a truck that's outfitted nicely. And I want to make sure these guys have everything they need. They're going to have, well, hopefully by then, Starlink mobile satellite will be up and running fully, and I can put those satellite systems in the trucks. We're going to have satellite TV in those trucks, refrigerator, freezer, oven, stove, microwave. Now, the microwave I have on my truck right now, it's great. It's both a microwave and an electric oven. It's a Gallant. It's a 900 watt microwave and oven combo. It's got an electric heating element in it. This thing not only does microwave cooking, it does convection oven, it does baking and roasting. I bake chicken in it all the time. I do cook biscuits in it all the time. We make biscuits and gravy on the truck every now and then. I can bake a cake if I wanted to. In fact, I think I'm going to do a cheesecake later on this week. There's a lot you can do with it. And it was surprisingly affordable, $125 at Walmart. My old microwave, 750 watt microwave that I got from Walmart years ago, I think I paid $40 for it at the time. Now it sells for like $49. Well, I was getting ready to pick one of those up because it died. I seen that Gallant sitting next to it. I thought, what's this? All in one. So I started reading. I'm like, oh shit, that's an electric oven in there too. Wow, I can air fry and everything in it. I grabbed that instead. It was only $100 more. And it's something I can write off on my taxes at the end of the year. All my expenses, anything I buy for the truck, I keep records of. And I write it off on my taxes. If I need to get a new GPS, which I think I'm going to need shortly, because this one here is starting to have issues, keeps freezing up on me. Right now it looks like it's frozen, but I know where I'm going right now, so it doesn't really matter. Things like the dash cam, the laptop that I use for work purposes, my mobile printer, my mobile scanner, my internet connection, my cell phone bill, my laundry, truck washes, my accounting, my subscription to the OOIDA membership. What else we got in here? There's only certain clothes you can write off, like PPE, things like a safety vest, hard hat, safety glasses, gloves, a heavy jacket like a Carhartt jacket or overalls, heavy jeans, and steel-toed work boots. But don't think you're going to go out and buy a 3-piece suit, $5,000 Italian suit, and write it off on your taxes. That's not something you can realistically use on the truck on the road, so it's not going to be tax deductible. There's a lot of things we can write off, and then there's a lot of things we can't write off. Things like our pens, paper, notepads, what else? My CB radio. That's all tax deductible. My laundry detergent is not tax deductible. Washing my laundry is tax deductible, but the detergent isn't. That's part of the per diem. Your food purchase, you cannot write off. That's covered in your per diem. I think per diem right now is $67 or $68 a day, if I'm not mistaken. So every day you're more than 100 miles from home, you get to take a per diem or per day deduction that covers things like your food, bath wash, body wash, soap, stuff like that. But you can write off your showers. Now, when you go to the truck stops, showers at some truck stops are almost $20 now. But if you buy a certain amount of fuel at that truck stop, they give you a free shower. Parking at the truck stops, if you end up having to pay to park in a reserved spot because all the other spots are full, which is getting to be more and more the case, you can write that off on your taxes. Now, a few years ago, when they decided everybody's got to stop and take a 30-minute break, the truck stops decided, hey, we're going to cash in on this, we're going to start charging for parking. Now, some of these truck stops, 80 to 90% of their parking is all now reserved parking. You have to pay to park there. Originally, there was just a couple spots up closest to the building, to make it convenient for the drivers so they don't have to walk as far and what have you. But now you have reserved parking all the way in the back of the lot. You got to walk a half mile. So why are you going to pay for that? You're not paying for the convenience. You're just paying to park. They realized that was a major revenue stream. And some drivers, and especially drivers that are just starting out, or drivers that went through a breakdown period like I did, where you're not getting a paycheck for a couple of weeks, now we're forced to choose between, do I want to get something to eat? Do I want to take a shower? Or do I want to have a safe place to park? Although those are getting far and few in between. Truck drivers almost monthly are being found murdered in truck stop parking lots, in the cabs of their trucks. At rest areas, they're being robbed and killed. It's just getting bad. The House is, the Democrats are all said, hey, we just passed this $1.8 trillion infrastructure improvement bill. Yay, yay, yay. There was provisions in there for truck parking nationwide, to expand truck parking. They took that all out. They killed all that part of it. It's a almost 2,100 page, or is it 2,700 pages? I forget. Bill. It's another one of these Pelosi specials. If you want to know what's in it, you have to pass it. What happened at the time where it's set out? They had a year to review it and get feedback on it and decide whether it's something good or not. Now it's write them as long and as thick as we can, stuff as much pork in it as we can, and screw the American people, because they've only got so much time to read it, to pass it. Now, if we make a 5,000 page report, they're not going to have time to read it before we vote on it. So if they want to know what's in it, they have to pass it. Well, one of the things that's in this transportation infrastructure bill, pages 508 to I believe it was 519, is a scheme to take cars away from people. It's a national per mile road use tax. Everybody's going to have to pay to the federal government. Now you start to see where all these little pittance are giving you, as Pelosi called it, these crumbs, these $600 Pelosi payoffs, disguised as stimulus or COVID relief, which I haven't gotten a single one of those because I actually work for my money. That's how we're going to start paying for it now. They're doing in this bill, there is a section in there, like I said, like page 508 to 519, I think it was, that lays out the scheme, and there's going to roll out a test phase where select people will be volunteering to pay taxes on every mile they drive for the year, just to see how much money they can, try and guesstimate how much money they can steal from the people with this bogus tax scheme. When all it is another way to take vehicles off the road, to make it harder for people to get around, force people to be reliant on public transportation and social programs. They're trying to drive us so far in the hole and make it so hard for people to pay for anything and make us more and more dependent on the government that we won't realize it when we're in full socialism mode. I know I said no politics, but that's one of the things in the transportation infrastructure bill. They want to heavily tax commercial vehicles. I'm driving 250,000 miles in a year sometimes, and they want to charge me $15 for every mile I drive. I'm not going to make any money. I'm going to owe money. I'm going to lose money every year. If I make $187,000 for the year, but I got to pay $215,000 in road use taxes, am I supposed to survive? How are you supposed to survive? Or you. Why is that cow running down the highway? He's looking over his shoulder like he did something wrong. So they want to charge us $10 to $15 a mile road use tax. On top of the federal highway use tax, we pay already our 1048, I think it's called, tax. We're already being taxed on every mile we drive on the highway. We're already being taxed by each individual state for all the fuel purchases we make in that state on top of the regular state fuel tax. Friggin' calamity. On cars, I think they were talking something like $5 to $7.50 per mile, depending on the car. If you have a Prius, you're going to pay $5 a mile for every mile you drive. If you have a pickup truck or an SUV, you're going to be paying $7.50, maybe $10 a mile for every mile you drive in that truck. Because it's a gas guzzler. It's a polluter. No, it's not. You're the polluter. Alright guys, I'm going to be getting off the highway here in just a minute to get fuel. It's starting to get dark out, so it's going to be hard to see me here on the screen. But yeah, I just wanted to jump in here real quick, give you guys a heads up on what's going on, put a video out there for you. And again, to say thank you to everybody that's got me to the point now where I can actually monetize my channel. I will hopefully be able to get this video uploaded later on tonight. Today's Monday, so it should have gone live this afternoon. I want to try and get my videos out, released every 2 weeks at 4 p.m. Las Vegas time, or Pacific time rather, every other Monday. Unfortunately, today's ain't going to be out on that schedule. I'm trying to hold myself to that schedule on all my channels. Make sure you check out my new website, beardednation.us. You also find yourself some beard care products on there if you've got a beard. I'm going to add those to it later on. Don't forget, I know most of you watching this are not subscribed. Please, by all means, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Right click on it and select all so you know when I upload new videos for you guys, so you can be some of the first to see it and comment on it and laugh at what I have to say. And please, by all means, smash that thumbs up button. That's what YouTube wants to see. Alright guys, that's it for now. I'm going to clip it here. Like I said, I'm getting ready to get off the highway here. Another 5 minutes of fuel. And it's getting dark out, so it's going to be harder to see this pretty face. Alright guys, as always, keep it between the ditches. Keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down. I'll see you out there on the highway, and go Army, beat Navy.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Hey guys, me again. On a quick little side note, I just tried to stop to get fuel at the 19 network at the Hopi Travel Plaza, where I always fuel up at when I'm here by the Arizona-New Mexico state line. My fuel card got declined, which every now and then it does, so I have to call and have them open up my fuel card so I can get fuel here. The 19 has always got the cheapest fuel. Fuel price $3.29 right now here. With my nickel discount, it's $3.24. Well, they now will not open fuel cards for us anymore. So I cannot get fuel here. They will only open fuel cards for reefer trailers. I'm not running a reefer trailer right now. I'm running a dry van, which is what I normally run. So now I got to go another 106 miles down the road. And I'm so low on fuel right now, I'm probably going to run out of fuel on the way. And they better not try and charge me a friggin' road service call to have somebody bring me out fuel when they could have opened up the fuel card right there. They're forcing us to only buy fuel at Pilot Flying J's, 19 Network, like Road Ranger, Town Pump, and I forget the other one, are all owned by Pilot Flying J. Again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier about that fuel discount. They gave us the fuel discount, then keeping most of it for themselves and screwing the drivers. Now, when we're in a pinch where we need to get fuel at a certain stop on the road, we can't. So I just told the dispatcher, if I run out of fuel on the way up here, it's over 100 miles to the next fuel stop, I'm not paying for the service call. We'll see what happens, guys. Wish me luck. I'm so done with this company.